Well, here we are again, time to geek out, look at some stats, channel that inner accountant, and let's look at the month of November and see how we did here in Halifax. Hi everyone, you are here because, as you know, every month we will always give you the real estate stats because it's a very different market, it's changing a lot, there's tons of complexities, and we need to keep you in the know. So if you're here for the stats, you're in the right place. Let's see how Halifax performed in the month of November, and let's dive into some of these numbers. Getting to that number one. So what happened to the average price point compared to last month? Because last month we were definitely kind of going down a little bit compared to where we have been in previous months. So what happened this time? Well, we are at $584 and $500, so let's call it $585. Now, the interesting thing is we are up 3% from last month, because last month that was $565. Last year, the number was $527, so we're up 11% on that year. So it's funny when you kind of look at the numbers because, yeah, we've hit a high of like 600 and something earlier on this year, kind of in the summer months. And you can see that we've definitely gone down. But it's interesting that November bounced back up a little bit in terms of the average price points. And we can certainly see when we get into some of those markets what really happened there. But it's good news when you kind of look at 565 last month, 585 this month, heading in the right direction again. But my expectation is fully that we'll be doing this. We're going to be bouncing around that number, but we're definitely not going to hit necessarily the 600 numbers that we had earlier on this year. Now, when we compare that with days on market, let's look at days on market because we have 32 days on market now. 28 last month, but 34 last year. So we're better than this month last year, but obviously the trend has been that we're kind of growing up on the days on the market. So houses are definitely sticking around longer. Make sure from a seller point of view, you have a strategy for what's going to happen. If you're an agent and you're having that pre-consultation about getting your house ready for the market, definitely ask them the question of what happens if we have to start doing price reductions? What happens if we've missed the market? Big question to find out how good the agent is who's obviously putting your house up for sale in terms of knowing what to do and how to approach that strategy and when. That's the key thing. When do you start doing price reductions? So a little bit higher than last month, but 30 days is still not crazy long at the moment, and it's November, so we'll see what happens there. Number of houses sold, we sold 309, last month 318, so kind of the same, but last year it was only 285, so we're up nearly 10% on last year, which is a good thing. And then the number of months that we've got of inventory, we're sitting at 2.6, 2.5 last month, last year 2.1. So you can see that as houses take longer on the market to sell, we're building up a little bit more inventory as well. And this month we actually active for sale, we have 789 homes active for sale. So roughly 2.6 months of inventory there. And that's definitely been a trend that we're seeing now, more houses active on the market for longer, because we're at 32 days on market and we're looking at 300 homes being sold. That's not like it was kind of going back into the middle of last year where we were selling 600, 700, 800 homes, but equally we weren't listing 700, 800 homes, so we were absolutely low inventory. Now, when we look at sale to list price, that's always one of the key things we want to look at. And this month we are at 98.5% compared to just over 100% last month. So list price of 593, sale price of 585, that gives us that 98.5%, whereas last month we were at 100, so we're actually coming down, we were over asking price-ish, or same asking price last month. Now last year, interesting, it was 98.8, so we're kind of November this year, last year are looking pretty similar in terms of those kind of numbers. But the big thing obviously is the price difference, which is great because that's what we're all hoping and seeing, even though we've had that high interest rates, and there's another announcement coming Wednesday. the expectation is no real change in mortgage interest rates, but we're at 6 point something percent, or hovering around 6% flat for mortgage rates. And that's when you kind of go, well, we're not seeing it necessarily in our numbers. Our market is still pretty buoyant. Yes, it's not as great as it was like a year and a half ago, but when you look at the numbers, we're doing pretty well considering we're at a 6% interest rate, whereas last year we were at like 2. So it's kind of interesting when you look at the numbers and go, yeah, we've not been hit so hard. Now, new homes listed. We're at 351 this month for brand new homes listed in the market. Last month, that was 495. So we're down like 22% on the number of homes that actually got listed in the month of November for sale. But last year, that was 316. So we're better than last year. But it's interesting as we kind of go back to what we would call a traditional Nova Scotia Halifax market, which is we have the spring bump and we have the fall bump. Winter definitely tails off because it's getting colder and people don't want to put their houses up for sale in the winter, which from a seller point of view, there's something to think about. Like, people don't like putting their houses up for sale. Well, people are still buying. So if yours is going up for sale in the market during December, it's probably going to do quite well because there's just not a lot of competition, but the buyers are out there and they are serious. They want a new home. So now is actually a decent time to list your house. Now let's look at sales to new listing ratios. Sales to new listing ratio is that number where we always say, okay, how many houses did we sell? How many new houses did we bring to the market? And are we basically putting more properties on the market for sale, or are we eating into that inventory? Now this month it was 88%. So we had 309 sales, we listed 351. So let's say we're more or less getting close to that time when what we put up for sale, the same number-ish that we're selling. So you won't be adding a lot of inventory to the market. Last month, that was 71%. So the number of sales, there was more new listings that came to the market. But last year, that was 90%. So again, fairly similar in terms of the market, November last year to November this year. And that's one of the things we're kind of seeing now is our market is becoming a lot more predictable for houses going up for sale, how long are they taking to sell, back to kind of like, that month on market to sell. So it's becoming a little bit more like a normal Halifax market. So it's going to be interesting to see what the first quarter of next year looks like. Now let's get into the top markets, because it's been a return to form for our favorite little home starting market, the new first time home buyer market, which is Lower Sackville. They are at a selling price of $427,500. 18 days on market, more or less sale to list price being the same. 29 homes sold. There is only 18 homes available, which gives us a 0.6 months of inventory. So that's our number one, back into the number one position for Sackville. Now, number two position is East Hants, Colchester County again. They're always kind of in that top 2-3 position. Average sale price there was $423,000. 63 days on market, 24 homes sold, 94 homes for sale. That gives them a pretty hefty 3.9 months of inventory. And then the days on market at 69 as well kind of gives you a little bit of a pause for like, okay, we're getting past 2 months to actually put the houses up for sale, and 4 months of inventory is probably one of the highest ones looking down the numbers. Yeah, they're in the top 2 or 3 highest amount of inventory on the market right now. Now, their sale to list price is more or less the same, so they're not seeing too much of an effect of the price point, but houses are definitely staying on the market longer in that area. So we have in third position a newcomer to the top 3. Like, they've never been here before. This is the first time I've seen them there. And that's Lawrencetown Lake Echo Porters Lake, sneaking in there at third position. 22 homes sold, 36 homes active, which gives them 1.6 months of inventory. Average sale price there, $492,000. 25, I think it says 25. 26 days on the market. Definitely need glasses, but also just 1% underneath sale to list price. So that gives you an idea of the top 3 markets that we've actually got here in Halifax. There is a ton more detail, and it's very interesting when we looked at the kind of original list price to the list price that actually gets the job done. And that's roughly a $20,000 price drop that on average, I mean, over 309 houses, on average, they had to do a $20,000 price drop before they then got the offer. And then obviously the offer is coming in at something like roughly $9,000 less than asking price as well to get that sale to list price. So it's definitely a changing market. Like, you really do need to make sure that whoever you're working with has got the guidance, understands the market, and understands how this change is really going to affect everything that you're trying to do in real estate. So if you have any questions, the details are all down below. Send us a message, send us an appointment request in Zoom. We will basically get together and we will help figure out everything you've got that's going on for the new year in 2024. But the key thing right now is I would get out and start looking at houses. If you are a buyer, start looking at houses and start now.